It's the high cost of low cost.
Here we are. We are in it, Razor. We are in it. The war on X has begun. Disregard the war on TikTok or Facebook or anywhere else that naughty things are said on. Xbox is in the crosshairs of the media, and it started at the tail end of last week as CNN and several other outlets have come out with the story saying Elon Musk had an anti-Semitic tweet. And here it is right here. With an anti-Semitic tweet, Elon Musk reveals his, quote, actual truth. So here we are ready to go. Elon Musk has publicly endorsed an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory popular among white supremacists that Jewish communities push, quote, hatred against whites. I have so many questions based off that sentence.
The fact that they don't actually show the tweet is a little alarming, but I assume they'll go on to explicate a little bit more.
The kind of overt thumbs up to an anti-Semitic post shocked even some of Musk's critics who have long called him out for using racist and otherwise bigoted dog whistles on Twitter, known as X. It was the multi-billionaire's most explicit public statement, yet endorsing anti-Jewish views.
Okay, pump the fucking brakes. Dog whistle is the stupidest word in the history of the English language. It is dumb. First off, you're admitting you're a fucking dog. If you're the only one who can fucking hear it, you're a goddamn canine. All right? Let's just establish that. Second, the entire idea of a dog whistle is you say a thing without saying it. So they're already off the bat admitting, hey, you're innocent of the thing we're accusing you of. It is the stupidest fucking shit. So stop right there. We need to stop at dog whistle. Right there, we can kind of throw this out. But anyway, continue, because I'm curious what the actual tweet that he liked is.
Well, you know, what's funny is I'm looking through it. I actually can't find the tweet itself, but they do continue on as I will continue to read. So he says, it's the kind of post that you can find easily on X these days. So it's like, they make it sound like these posts are just like all over the place on Twitter. Like they're not all over the place on TikTok. Like they're not all over the place on Facebook and everywhere else where people are speaking, right?
Well, and it's a little bit of confession there, because prior to Elon Musk taking over Twitter, the way that they suppressed people, they still are, incidentally, it's just not as bad, was you can call it shadow banning, you can call it whatever. Eric Schmidt, the former CEO of Google, came out years ago, did an interview, said, we're not going to remove things that we find objectionable on Google, on YouTube, on whatever. We're just going to have it exist in its own little bubble, and no one will see it. It won't be recommended. It'll be deranked, right? Essentially, he described the theorem of shadow banning. And that sentence is really telling, because they're basically saying you can find it really, really easily. Like, the implication being you shouldn't be able to find these things. Free speech should not be free.
Well, you know, it's funny you mentioned that, because even Elon Musk has come out. One of their things is they have the free speech not reach policy on Twitter. You know, and that's something that when they announced that was one of those where you kind of lower your sunglasses a little bit and be like, oh, really? Is that you're Mr. Free Speech guy, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, so people got up in arms. Obviously, the corporate media now, you know, everyone's like, oh, Elon Musk is a horrible person. He's a piece of crap. So shortly after that, there were a couple of articles released by Media Matters. I don't know if you're familiar with Media Matters, but
certainly.
Okay. Well, this is the CEO of Rumble, which is a free speech platform, which, you know, we are streaming on right now. Chris Pavlovsky tweeted out this. He says, Media Matters targets two companies with headers on their homepage, Rumble and X. I wonder why.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, they're targeting Elon Musk and Twitter.
And Media Matters are a pressure group. You have to understand, they orchestrate deplatforming campaigns, and they've been doing this for decades. Even before the advent of social media, I remember a radio host that I used to listen to all the time, Michael Savage. He used to have a television show on MSNBC, if you can believe it.
Mhm.
There was a time when MSNBC was actually kind of a conservative network in terms of their editorial programming. Tucker Carlson was on there. Michael Savage was on there. They were kind of trying to out Fox News. And Michael Savage made a hilarious joke and got deplatformed as a result of Media Matters taking a clip out of context. And so this is not new. This is what they
Mhm.
do. This is 100% why they exist. So everyone's got to understand the playbook here.
Right. Well, so and this is once again taking clips and kind of saying, well, this is what they said. They're horrible people, right? And everyone's a horrible person.
Right.
But Elon Musk came out and after all these articles, and this was really interesting. This has 51 million views over on X, and this is Elon Musk's response to all this. Says the split-second courts open on Monday. X Corp will be filing a thermonuclear lawsuit against Media Matters and all those who colluded in this fraudulent attack on our company. And he goes into it here, and this is actually really interesting because the one thing that Media Matters, that they'll say these things, or when I say Media Matters, I mean these groups that go out and they try to create these controversies around them, right?
Yeah.
They say, well, this showed up on an anti-Semitic post, and these advertisers, they need to pull their money out from these campaigns and from these platforms because look what you're advertising next to, and people will associate these things with it, right?
Right.
So they have these screenshots, but here's the difference. Elon Musk has data. He actually has the data attached to it. Have you seen this post?
No, I haven't. I actually kind of wanted virgin eyes on this because I was aware that Elon Musk was being canceled, but I didn't know exactly what the kerfuffle was. So a lot of this is new to me.
Okay. So I'm going to read through this. And once again, my name is Stuttering Craig, so kind of roll with that because I can't read. This week, Media Matters for America posted a story that completely misrepresented the real user experience on X in another attempt to undermine freedom of speech and mislead advertisers. Above everything, including profit, X works to protect the public's right to free speech. But for speech to be truly free, we must also have the freedom to see or hear things that some people may consider objectionable. We believe that everyone has the right to make up their own minds about what to read, watch, or listen to, because that's the power of freedom of speech. Despite our clear, consistent position, X has seen a number of attacks from activist groups like Media Matters and legacy media outlets who seek to undermine freedom of expression on our platform because they perceive it as a threat to their ideological narrative and those of their financial supporters. These groups try to use their influence to attack our revenue streams by deceiving advertisers on X. So let's go and stop there. I think this has been a constant theme that we've seen over the last, I'd say 3 or 4 years, where these groups come in and they have these attacks. They say, it goes back to, well, that's not they throw out these more or less attacks on these. And I don't think that anything that Musk said here is that insane. The idea of like, if you want freedom of speech, you need to be able to hear all perspectives. You can't just be in your little bubble.
Right. Which is ironic again, because as you pointed out, X under his ownership has not exactly been a rousing free speech platform. He's still, the shadow bans still exist. There's still people being deranked. Alex Jones isn't on the platform, right? We just talked about that game, right? A couple of episodes ago. It's there are still people who are absolutely still deplatformed over silly infractions, if any. So I think what's interesting about this is what I'm hearing in this as I read this. I hear Elon, who had been compromising on free speech, becoming galvanized against the same groups that had been persuading him to compromise on this issue. That's kind of what I see in this. Is that kind of the read that you're taking away a little bit?
Yeah, I think that he's understanding the attack. I think he knew about the attack, but now I think the attack is really starting to ramp up a little bit,
Yeah.
and you go back to, previous election cycles and data that wasn't available at the time that could have potentially swayed certain people's perspective on things. And Twitter was a major part of that. And there's the quote that's been passed around many, many times that is attributed to Elon Musk. I think it's down here a little bit further, but it's something along the lines of like, Elon Musk spent $44 billion on it, but what's the cost of free speech, right? Something along those lines. But I want to continue here with this, because this is where things get interesting. He says, here are the facts on Media Matters research. To manipulate the public and advertisers, Media Matters created an alternate account and curated the post and advertising appearance on the account's timeline to misinform advertisers about the placement of their post. These contrived experiences could be applied to any platform, right? Once they curated their feed, they repeatedly refreshed their timelines to find a rare instance of ads serving next to the content they choose to follow. Our logs indicate that they forced a scenario resulting in 13 times the number of ads served compared to the median ads served on an X user. Right. Of the 5.5 billion ad impressions on X that day, less than 50 total ad impressions were served against all of the organic content featured in the Media Matters article. For one brand showcased in the article, one of its ads ran adjacent to a post two times, and that ad was only seen by 2 users, one of which was the author of the Media Matters article.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's good that he points that out, because a lot of times, if they're serving up the ads, they're the ones who wind up seeing it, right? So this is just, it's absolutely absurd. Either way, though, I think we can all agree, if this ends in fewer ads on Twitter, are we really talking about a doomsday scenario here? I'm just saying.
Well, it continues, says, for another brand showcased in the article, 2 of its ads served adjacent to 2 posts, 3 times, and that ad was only seen in the setting by 1 user, the author of the Media Matters article. So they're saying this is like look at all these horrible ads that you're seeing, and it's only seen by literally 1 person on the entire platform, right? Yeah. And it's the person who's trying to create this narrative around it, which he has the data to back up. That's the one thing that these people don't understand. You can try to formulate this narrative, but he's like, no, here it is. Here's all the data. It's right here for you.
But is anybody going to talk about some of the advertisers? You seen some of the trashy ass ads on X? We're really pretending some of these people have fucking high standards. Like back when I was growing up, you would not see a Trojan condom ad on like a mainstream website. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now you'll see all kinds of horrible shit. That's the part of this that kind of makes me laugh, is the woke mob. The whole point is to make a preference cascade so that it doesn't become about the product being advertised or its compatibility with the audience. It's just about make the noise stop. That's all it is. That's why these groups exist. They're megaphones. They exist to make noise. And they're at least accomplishing that.
So Jerry says, he says, your ads reflect your own preferences. So if you're a commie, you get commie ads, right?
Yeah.
It's funny because I had this guy on my Twitter timeline. He's like, how come on the front, we were talking about how YouTube is allowing breastfeeding, and they're allowing breastfeeding and twerking now on the platform. Ugh. And he was like, I can't believe it's going to be just as bad as Twitch. Look at my front page of Twitch. And it's all these like girls with their titties hanging out. And he's like, I don't understand why Twitch is serving this. And I'm like, well, it's based off your viewing preferences.
Yeah,
man.
I was going to say, are you logged in? Because
yeah.
What have you been watching, buddy? It's kind of the Smithers Simpsons meme with the 2 bikini chicks wiggling their asses in front of his face, and he's trying to shield his, that thing.
Right. So we'll finish off this post here. He says, Media Matters also highlighted 9 posts they believe should not be allowed on X. Upon evaluation, only 1 of the 9 organic posts featured in the article violated our content policies, and we've taken action on it under our freedom of speech, not reach enforcement approach. Here's a summary of all. X will protect the public's right to free expression. Everyone has a choice on X. Data wins over allegations, right? So anyways, We don't have anything about him suing them yet, but I'm very intrigued to see what happens in this situation, because in this world that we live in, where it's crazy to even say this, like that freedom of speech is slowly being just decimated, chipped away at, and that everyone is so cool with the idea that oh yeah, you shouldn't be able to say that. It's
Yeah.
like, fuck off. Like
I'll tell you exactly the wedge they used to get us to this point, the wedge in the door, rather. It was convenience, right? It was, you can have this on your phone, carrying it around. You can access it at any time. I've said this a million times before, but if you're not buying a product on a platform, you're the product. That's how that works. Okay. So they're selling your data. It's not about free expression for most of these platforms. It's data mining, really, is what it is. They're selling that data usually to like China or, whoever, right? They're selling it to someone who's either going to serve you ads or sell it to someone else. There's a great big kind of aftermarket on just selling your data around to different companies, and who knows where it ends up.
Man, that's such a good point. And when you are using, the amount of, like, have you ever got an email from somebody that you you didn't sign up for that account, right?
Yeah.
That stuff just appears in your inbox. Oh, it's spam, whatever. How did I get here? Well, because somebody sold your email account, because somebody sold your data. And that's when you don't look into the terms of service that
Or the
signing.
endless we're trying to get in touch with you about your car's extended warranty, right? How they get a hold of that information? It's the same deal, right? The company that you signed up for two-factor authentication on sold your fucking phone number to some robocall agency.
Right, of course. And it's amazing how so many people don't realize that, because I think you're right, is that it boils down to convenience.
Yep.
You mean I get to have all this? Like, think about that. You have the ability to have more information in your pocket at any time than any other time in the history of Earth.
Mm-hmm.
You get it in your pocket. All it costs is all your personal information and access to your microphone and access to your camera. That's it. That's it. But that's where we're at right now. So,
right.
anyways,
And it's unfortunate, but it's germane to a previous discussion we had about Steam and physical property rights and downloadable content and whatnot. It's the same thing. Oh, it's so convenient to download these games. And now, this game's problematic. It's off the store. Oh, this part of this game is problematic. We've patched it. We've removed that thing. You can't play that anymore. This is actually starting to happen. It's the high cost of low cost.
but what do you think about this? Leave us a comment down below. We read every single one of them. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button, because you have found your home for common sense in the gaming and entertainment worlds.